Hi guys, so we are back with our newest design together with Thomas and Shi Yun. My name is Ren Peng. Me together with Cafe, we helped to create this design with the inputs of Shi Yun and Thomas.
Hi everyone, my name is Thomas, and together with my wife Shi Yun, we are the homeowner for today's episode. So happy to actually work with Ren Peng and Cafe for our renovation journey.
Hello, I'm Shi Yun, and this is my husband Thomas, and we are very happy to work with Ren Peng and Cafe from Overall Design for this week's episode on renovating our minimalist and wabi-sabi house.
So I think the initial thinking behind our design was we wanted something that is quite minimalist, wabi-sabi, as well as we want to stick to the theme where it's more concrete and wooden theme around the house, so we can bring out the effect that we wanted.
For me, it's I think visiting the Overall Design office for the first time. I was like, oh, I want this theme for my house.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of largely influenced. I think we wanted a bit of a wabi-sabi, but not the typical kind of cream wabi-sabi design, but more of a grey vibe. And because we like solid wood furnitures, and I think wood and grey goes very well. So that was kind of the key overarching theme that we were looking for.
I think one of the first things you mentioned to me, like the first time you came, we met, then I think Thomas showed me a picture of the bookshelf.
So I think what we wanted initially was we wanted a house where we have our own bookshelf area where we can display our books and whatever we want to decorate for the house. I think that's one of the key things that we requested and actually asked for you all to come up with some design so that we can consider. Yeah, I think that's something we really wanted.
We knew very upfront at the beginning that we wanted a house that is unique, and both of us don't really watch TVs. So we knew upfront that we are not going to have a TV in our house, and there will be no sofa. So I guess that is kind of the key, I would say, differentiation factor of our house versus, and you can see that we don't have that, and I think it kind of really create a very huge living area for us where we can host our friends and families and spend a lot of time here.
So for me, I think the biggest transformation is actually the reconfiguration of our kitchen layout. So originally when we got our place, we came in, the entrance of the kitchen was actually facing the door, the main door itself. So we wanted something that's for us to actually change the whole layout where we relocate or change the position of the door. And I think you managed to capture it very well where we now change it to an open concept kitchen. And now for us at our entrance, we managed to build up a fluted panel wall. And this actually create a feeling where you enter into the art gallery kind of feeling. And that's really what we enjoy the transformation.
I think the older design was when you go inside, when you open the door, you sort of like look into the kitchen, which was like not so artistic, not so.
So it also lacks a bit of privacy, so we wanted that. And now with that fluted panel wall, it gives them some privacy, and also nobody can really see exactly how our whole house is. And then as you enter, then you transit into the living area, which actually is what we actually envision actually.
I think it's quite similar to a lot of like restaurant kind of setting where you go inside and then there's a reception, then they welcome you. Then
Yes, correct.
Yes, indeed.
Actually, like when I came in like the final product, then I finally thought that this is like a private dining area where you can see all your whiskey and then your very long dining table.
I mean, it really created a very private space for us because, like, for people who are walking along the corridor, unless they are standing at a certain angle, they really cannot see what's inside the house. So it creates this kind of like curiosity and mysterious, like especially for our guests also, they'll be like, oh, what does inside looks like, right? Then that's when they walk in and then like, oh wow, then you will be welcomed by a huge this huge living area space.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted. And we think that this is one of the biggest transformation for our house lah. For me, it's really the lime wash wall. So even though it was quite a long process in the renovation journey, but that was really kind of one of my favorite area. And I think having the lime wash wall really create that texture effect, and it kind of brings out that wabi-sabi minimalist look. And I think together with the wooden furnitures that we picked, it really kind of bring out that wow factor. Yeah, I think having that lime wash wall was one of the key factor here.
Something unique.
Yeah.
And it like brings in the different vibe to the area.
Correct. Yeah. I imagine if it's just kind of a normal painted walls, it doesn't really have that effect. And because it's textured, so it has a bit of like a 3D and a bit of the nature. Yeah. That's kind of also a theme that we wanted to bring throughout this whole house, like textures.
So for me, I think it's really how we actually segregate our living room and the kitchen area with our bedrooms. I think having a door or partition to actually segregate the two space allow us to play with different theme, and then we can see the transition as we move along into our personal bedrooms. And this really gives us the feeling that we are in two different zones. And when our guests come, they can hang around in the living area, and also we still get that privacy, and then we have two different area for like us to actually play around in terms of the theme.
It's like a hidden door.
Yeah.
Just now you mentioned like some of your friends came in and then they say that, hey, your house so small.
Yeah.
Right. They'll be like, oh, this is your house? Like, I said, oh, actually, there's more.
Yeah. So they were wondering, oh, what's next? Is there anything else hidden?
I thought that this is it, but then until they actually found the door and like, oh wow, there's more inside behind the door. So I find that I think having that door creates that kind of again that curiosity and mysterious and a little bit of a surprise element, dividing the living area with the bedroom.
For some homeowners, I think the key, maybe sharing from my perspective, is that I think first of all you need to have an idea what you wanted in terms of the design team. So having that idea, right, allows you to actually kickstart the process. Otherwise, you face the situation where there's too many designs to choose from, and you don't know which direction to go. So I think one thing very clear at the start is both of us have an idea of what we wanted, and then we went to Pinterest to look at some design and then some concept where we think that would be suitable, and then this helped us along in the process.
For me, it's maybe because of my training as an accountant. So for me, cost is something of a big factor for me in the front renovation process. And I think it's a common concern or issue for most homeowners doing a renovation. So I think having a sort of a tight control over costs would help to ensure that at the end of these whole renovations, you don't go over a budget that you initially set for yourself. So being very clear on what is the amount that you're willing to spend for the house will actually help you, and together with the vision that you have, will help you make the decisions more wisely on what are the things that you think it's worth spending, whereas there are certain things that is just kind of good to have, and you can actually save some cost over there just to kind of overall manage your budget. So for me, it's really about the cost.
I think first thing what Thomas said about like knowing the design, I think it helps when like homeowners have a very good idea of what they want. Then it helps with like the decision process. Then not so many changes because got some houses it's like, oh, we already built already, then suddenly the idea not similar to the owner not so sure about what they want. So a lot of changes and delays.
Nowadays, like there's a lot of Instagram or on like a lot of resources where people actually can see what are other people's houses design. So I think a lot of times people get influenced by what other people's houses look like. Like they think that, oh, it's a nice design or it's a good feature to have, and then they get influenced and then that kind of deviate. So I think as what Thomas mentioned, having a very clear vision up front of what you want for your house will really help and sort of avoid your sort of making decisions that are not so good eventually, that it can kind of like make you deviate from your original design in the first place lah. And then tying it back to like the cost would also kind of help you manage because I heard a lot of stories about homeowners spending way above the amount. So I think having a very open, and I think you can be very honest about what's your budget with the ID, right? And together, the ID and the homeowner should work together to make sure, like, at the end of the day, the spending is actually within a range that the owners are actually comfortable. And obviously, you have to buffer for some kind of cost overruns for things that you cannot anticipate, right? And we did that, and I think at the end of the day, when we look at how much we spent for the house, we were pretty happy that we kind of kept within our budget and within that allowable buffer that we set.
I think for budgeting is very important because not all designs are cost effective. So that's why during the proposal process, I try to understand what is most important for you. Then we try to prioritize it. Of course, if there's no limit, then we can do a lot of interesting things lah. But then I think if we prioritize what is the main design, then the rest we can use other things to spice up the area.
I think overall throughout the whole renovation journey, I think it really is an enjoyable process. I think from the start where we see the 3D render, and then throughout in the middle where the renovation work is going on, somehow we couldn't really imagine the space. We were like, oh, how will it look like? How would this paint like? Because when you're doing the process, you're choosing individual tile, you're choosing individual paint. You can't really piece everything together, but as the process continues to progress, you start to see, everything actually start coming together. And end of the day, it's very similar to what we have in our 3D render, and it's also what we wanted.
To me, it's really an exciting journey, but in reality, it can also be very stressful, right? When things, when projects get delayed or when you have to make a lot of decisions in a short period of time. But when we take a step back and then you look at the completed house design and you feel like, wow, this is what I wanted, and coming back to a house where you can enjoy the different space, and while it's stressful, but it's also a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day.
I think for renovation process, there's always the portion where the unknowns, things that we didn't account for, we hack open the thing, then we got some complications. Then I think most important is the communication. We get back to homeowner and we can agree on what the solution is. Because I think from my experience, it's very hard to predict everything. But then it's most important is the communication that makes the entire journey more enjoyable. So thank you guys. We are done for our interview. So stay tuned for the next design.